Smith. Oh, Karma Kamitha pushed him through the line. Smith gets the stage, stands him up. The cheese.
Hello and welcome to Friday Lines. I'm your host, Luke O'Brien, aka OB. Friday Lines is brought to you by Little Birdie TV and topsport.com.au, punting, form and Manscaped, all your essential items for life. Joining me today for all things AFL is MG. MG, welcome.
Morning, OB. How are you?
Good, going well, thank you. And the doyen of rugby league is Toprope. Hello to you, Toprope.
Look, I'm just glad I could make it in before after Patrick Cripps' decision was made. It was took a while, but good to sneak in for Friday. I thought we might be going to the first look next week, the way things were going.
It's only just finished, but he's free to play next week. It's a 4.5 hour hearing. Look, I'm not sure about it personally. I know, MG, you've got some thoughts on it?
Yeah, the AFL's not serious, and the tribunal's definitely not serious. What do they do? Have a 3 hour dinner break in between or something? I mean, how does something a second time go around for 4.5 hours to come up with a decision, and they walk out with probably the wrong one? So,
I thought the tribunal got it right in the first place. I thought 2 weeks seemed right. Yeah. Left the ground, elected to bump. Got Archie in the head. I just don't know. And this is just me not speaking from an AFL point of view, but Archie can't play this week, but Cripps can. That doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah, it's a mess. We've called for it for most of this season at the inconsistencies, and I just don't know how you measure it up. I think it comes down to maybe not this decision, but the larger decision of the AFL needing Carlton in the finals. I think they're giving them every leg up to get there, I think. So, yeah, shake my head and move on. Cripps is right to play, and we'll see if the outcome helps Carlton get finals berth.
I think they still play finals. I think they fall in. I think that the teams chasing them are just a little bit too far back and no room for error for them. So that's why I think the Blues fall in. This time of year, always a sad time of year for AFL fans with a lot of retirements. The two Josh Kennedys. Josh Kennedy from the Eagles kicked 8 last week. Hopefully Josh Kennedy of the Swans may sneak a final in. I think that if he's fit and right to go, I think Longmire will play him as the sub. Bit of experience on the bench. If he comes on late in the game, he could really help them. So that's what I think will happen. Yep. Matt de Boer, Fremantle and GWS, is a great warrior for those two clubs, and big boy McAvoy. A little bit of a surprise. I still think he's going all right. A little bit left in the tank, but and then Dusty obviously has played his last game for Richmond in the home and away season. They have to make finals for him to be back, and possibly his last game for Richmond ever.
Yeah, I think he's done. Tigerland. Yeah, I think it's they've just. Smoke and mirrors the whole way through for mine. I think he's been out the door for a while. I know he's still training down there and stuff, but yeah, I think he's checked out, and I think he'll be playing somewhere else next year, OB.
What's your gut feel?
He'll be heading north, I think. So I think you gave me the mail maybe sniffing around a couple of, even 4 to 6 weeks ago, but yeah, I think if he was, the athlete he's been and stuff, and the enduring athlete he's been, he would have made his way back, I think. I think he's just he's checked out, and Richmond are trying to concentrate on making the finals. And I think if they do miss, then it'll be a made straight after the season finishes, I think. Yeah,
it's it's an interesting one. But what he's done for Richmond, they can't hold him back. I wouldn't have thought. Just going around the global wrap, LIV Golf, Cameron Smith looks like he's signed there, but the smart poker player that he is won't announce until after the FedEx Cup and also the President's Cup. That's well played. I think the LIV players could lose a court bid to play the FedEx playoff. So interesting to see there. Toprope, any thoughts on that one?
Look, they're being widely slammed for going to LIV Golf, but if you're not an American, you can fully understand why you want to get behind this. It's taking the game to the world. I know there's some question marks over the source of the money, but if you delve too deeply into too many sports, you're not going to find a lot of pleasantness behind where the cash is coming from. So, look, I think it's going to be great for Australian golf. One of the 14 events next year, live events next year, will be in Sydney. So that's exciting news for Australian golf. I would expect that we're going to see more and more people go. I think Scott, Leishman, Smith will all go after the President's Cup. And Scott was just on this morning talking about how he'll be playing the President's Cup and how a couple of these young Koreans are looking, like possible selections. So I think that's when we'll kind of see that. And there's going to be a lot more players go as well. Cameron Young's been touted this week as going. I expect Harold Varner the third will go soon. So it's going to be a real tipping point. And, it's going to be a bit like the Super League war in rugby league, 25 years ago. It's going to be a brief time apart, but I think they'll all come together. And I think if there's one good bet, it's that Jay Monahan will not be CEO of the PGA Tour by the end of next year.
And I think it's good for sport. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for these players to go there. Obviously, the money and the financial security, but I think the PGA has sat on its hands for too long, just thinking it's the be-all and end-all. And now LIV Golf has come in and sort of shaken the pot, like Super League, like World Series cricket. I think every sport needs a little bit of a shake-up. Just a couple of fantastic females just sort of stepping away from the game this week as well. Meg Lanning, probably Australia's best sportswoman. Her and Ash Barty would be sort of vying for that title, but she takes an indefinite break from the game. And, good luck to Meg. If she ever plays again, that'll be great for the fans. But if she doesn't, she's done wonderful service to Australian cricket. And Serena Williams as well to retire after the US Open, one of the best ever, probably almost the best ever female sports person ever.
Yeah, I'll need to get along early too. I don't think she'll win too many matches at the US Open. She's really struggling. She knows time's up. Heart's not in it anymore. So, yeah, fair way to finish at the US Open.
And it'd be remiss of us not to mention the sad passing of Paul Green yesterday. Really shocked everyone. Toprope. It just goes to show to any of the listeners out there, if you do have an issue, please speak up. He always seemed bubbly, happy-go-lucky type guy. So you just don't know what people are feeling. So to any of the listeners out there, help is around the corner. If you do need it, there are people to listen. And terribly sad news yesterday from the Rugby League World Toprope.
Yeah, devastating news. And the most just kind of reminded me was when Ben Alexander died in a car crash after the famous 1991 Premiership victory. This was that shocking. It was that unexpected. He was that young, and kind of the manner at which it went. It's cast a pall over the entire rugby league round, and probably the season. To be honest, he was very popular. Played and coached at a lot of different clubs. Yeah, coached a premiership in 2015. That's how recent this was. Like that's, it's always sad when a coach passes young in rugby league. Had a few of those over the last decade. Graham Murray, health issues. Steve Folkes, died of a heart attack. They were out of the game for quite a while, and very, very sad. But this was shocking. Like Paul Green was touted for the Canterbury job, was touted for the Tigers job, was touted for the Warriors job. Coached Queensland last year. That's how recent his involvement's been in the game. Was set to be an assistant with the Dolphins next year, and without that much respect for him. Actually, was at the Roosters reunion, was at the Sharks reunion, Old Boys reunion not long ago. Very, very, very sad. And for a player who played above his weight, with a coach who was extremely astute and is without question the most important coach in North Queensland Cowboys history. His stint at Queensland didn't work out, but was up until his passing was up there with probably the best available coaches. There were certainly coaches getting jobs who were less qualified than him, but it doesn't mean he wouldn't have got one in the near future. And it's terribly sad. And like you said, there's always someone out there to listen, always someone out there to help. You mightn't think people care, but people will do. So always reach out. It's never it's never a shame to speak up.
Absolutely, and our deepest condolences to the Green family and all the rugby league world and his friends and support network as well. But back to on-field action, and the Melbourne Storm looked like they were back to a little bit of form last night. 16-0 win against the first-placed Penrith at Penrith. Their defence was outstanding. The Storm, I think it was 50 tackles inside their own 20. Both teams sort of decimated by injuries, and Cleary and Luai are probably no two more important players in the NRL. But the money for the Storm was consistent, +4 line to start, and then it started at +2.5. Toprope, you tipped on Monday's show the game under 40, never in doubt, scoreless second half. You're back, and the Storm top 4 looks like there's a bit of food on the plate for you.
Oh, there could be. It'll be nice for the family not to starve over summer this year. So, we're happy with how the game played out. Kind of played to kind of the script I was certainly hoping to. It. There was no question it was a substandard Penrith side. There was not only no Cleary and Luai, there was no Dylan Edwards. He was a late out for the Panthers as well. So they were missing their three kind of key spine players outside Rappy Coruscant. It was the manner in which the Storm defended. That's always been the North Star for the Storm. When they defend well, they're playing well. That's when they perform well. What had been kind of alarming over the kind of last couple of months was how the standards of defence had slipped. I like what Bellamy did by putting some of the, let's say, less talented players on the bench who named to start, your Chris Lewis's and your Tom Eisner, and just started with the big boppers. Started with Big Tui, Kamika, Nelson, Sofa Solomona, Brandon Smith. They all came in to start. They set the tone early. Penrith were on top of that game for probably 60 minutes. In terms of field position, in terms of winning the battle of the ruck. But the Storm got out. The Storm got a couple of tries, and you'd call, particularly the second one, reasonably soft. And all of a sudden, it was game over, and the Storm just buckled down. So, good signs for the Storm. I know it was against a weakened Penrith side, but that weakened Penrith team did beat Canberra 26-6 the week before. So, it was great to see. And I don't know about my highlight of the game, but the highlight for Ricky Stewart was no doubt Jamin Salmon getting smashed about the 5th minute and dropping the ball. I can have a little idea as to what Ricky might have been thinking that play was, and perhaps what animal it may have reminisced, and how well its Bowles performed.
Yeah, it was a great performance. Big Nelson was outstanding, and I thought the cheese. I thought Brandon Smith was sort of back to his sort of best. Did a little chirping around the ruck, getting in the face of the Panthers player. Looks ominous for the rest of the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. He was everywhere. Munster was magnificent as always.
Outstanding.
He just he will be fullback for the rest of the year because he's just playing the 5'8" role with the freedom to move wherever the hell he wants, and also get a wind up. It's fantastic to watch. But it's hard to go past Brandon Smith's just swerve around the fullback. You kind of expect something like that from a genuine speedster to kind of maybe get on the outside of Tommy Turbo and just swivel the hips and get going. The hectic cheese just walked around Charlie Staines, and I imagine something that's not going to play well in the video session on Monday.
And what I liked, there was a minute to go, and he sort of cops a foot in the face and could just roll over and just sort of get the last minute out. But no, he had to push the player over. There's a bit of a scuffle. I thought, geez, guys, there's a minute to go. Just get on with it. But that's the way they play. A little bit of golf to discuss as well. Top rope, the FedEx St Jude's Championship underway. Anyone you like at the moment?
They went out earlier and they're just absolutely shooting the eyes out of the course here at the moment. If you're not shooting kind of 65 or better, you're kind of falling off the pace here. I'll have the couple going in. I'll Tyrrell Hatton, Justin Thomas, Mito Pereira to Price, Corey Connors. They're all about the mark. But I'll be looking for those guys to go real low, kind of getting out early in the morning. So maybe your Mito Pereira, your Shane Lowry, these guys who played in the afternoon today. Had 3 inches of rain last night, so it kind of really took a toll on the course. They were playing Lift Clan in place today, which it's hardly playoff worthy, but here we are. But there's plenty going on, and this is the last good tournament we're going to have for the rest of the year. We've got 2 more playoffs, but they're reduced fields. Next week will be fine. That's the BMW Championship, 70 players, good field, but then we get down. I'm talking from a betting point of view as well. Then we're down to 30 off the staggered starts for the Tour Championship, which is without question the worst betting event of the year. So enjoy this while you can. There's still plenty happening. Those at the top of the leaderboard who I wasn't on kind of pre the off. He hasn't won yet, but Smith Thagala is one hell of a player. Came out and shot 7 under in the afternoon play. We're going to crack it in morning conditions tomorrow. I think he will bring plenty of value when the markets come back up.
And a little bit of a Commonwealth Games wrap as well. And I haven't seen this, but for the $55, and if you had a starting pool of $1,000, you ended up with 19,500 bets, 49 bets, units bets 204.5, the profit plus 40 and a bit units for a POT percentage of 19.58. Top rope, absolutely outstanding. What a fill-up.
Absolute fill-up. We managed to do it without a lot of the markets being up and kind of giving us time to have a real dive into this stuff. But look, it's the same with all these big events. There's lots of events, and bookies, despite their size, despite the behemoth nature of a few of them, aren't willing to put the work into it. So a little bit of work. So get in early next time. Subscribe. We'll be doing the Com Games in 2026. Hopefully on the ground over. Hopefully live from Ballarat, live from Geelong. The beautiful Bendigo. It's Winter Olympics, Summer Olympics. Whatever we can find. We might even bring in some World Athletics champs and if any bookie will put it up, it's the World Weightlifting Championships. I'd love to be able to get my teeth into those ones, but we'll see.
That's all right. You can go to Ballarat and Geelong, and I've spoken to the CEO, and I'll go to Paris. So I'll take that one for the team. But yeah, feel free to come down here. No worries at all.
You're a generous man, OB.
And right now it's time for Friday Lines, brought to you by topsport.com.au, family owned and operated for 35 years. Bet with a bookie you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. And a beauty to start Friday night footy for round 22 of AFL action. The Saints 2.45 against the Lions $1.55. The line 9.5, over under 169.5. I think this market is skewed, MG. The Lions don't play well in Melbourne. Last roll of the dice for the Saints. I like the 2.45 of the Saints here, mate.
Doesn't surprise me, OB, that you're going against me again. You're a big fan of the Saints. I'm not sure. You must go down and watch their training or something where they look good against each other or something. I'm not sure. But yes, Brisbane don't play well in Melbourne, but it's more the MCG that they don't play well at. So this game being at the Dome, I'm the other way. I think, and I'm a fan of Brisbane, tipped them at the start of the year, and I'm still hanging on by my fingernails to see that ticket through. But I just think St Kilda, their form, they've lost 6 of their last 9, and it is their last chance. They've got to win one of their last 2, or definitely one of their last 2 to try and make finals. So they are all out. I just don't think they've got the cattle in the park, and they don't find a way to match St Kilda in the midfield. They're going to be in awful trouble because the lopsided scoring in this game, Brisbane are averaging 100 points per game this year to St Kilda only 78. So there's a big difference, and if they don't chop it out in the midfield and Brisbane get too much supply into Brisbane's forward, they'll just outscore them, St Kilda. So I just think, I'm surprised the market hasn't moved, been very rock solid. It's actually gone St Kilda's way of points since opening, 10 down to 9. So the punters are thinking, the majority are thinking your way, OB. So I'm going to swim against the tide here. I think Brisbane are a pretty good bet. I think they're in good form and at the Dome in good conditions. I just think, the one drawback I do have for Brisbane, they're off a 5-day break and they do have to travel. St Kilda are off a 6-day break, but I just think it's always a little a negative for me off the short break, always factored in. But I just think the way this game will be is, I just think at the Dome it'll be a high-scoring game. So Brisbane have scored 13 of their last 16 have been over games, 6 of their last 7. The total hasn't really moved, but I just think at 169.5, I think that's a good bet. So I'm actually probably double playing this game, Brisbane minus and the over.
I think it's going to be a battle of the halfbacks. I think St Kilda can't defend Kitty Coleman and Rich, and I think the Lions look like they have to try and defend Hill and Sinclair off halfback. I think it's going to be a bit of a running game. And Josh Battle is a big out for the Saints. He plays tall. He's had a very, very good year, and with the 3-prong attack for the Lions, might see a bit too much, but I just think with Marcus Adams out, I don't think Jackson Payne. Yeah, I don't think he is as good as Adams. So anyway, hopefully the Saints can come out with something over the next 2 rounds to give himself half a sniff. As we look to the late Friday night game, it's Parramatta 2.38 against the South Sydney Rabbitohs $1.60. The line 3.5, over under 43.5. 5th versus 6th. The Rabbitohs got a very good record against the Eels. This looks a beauty at Combank Stadium tonight, Toprope.
Gee, a big Friday for you, OB. Firing your shots early, the Saints and then the Bunnies all at once. Look, I'm with you, Bunnies here. I'll ride them until we kind of see them play a little differently. They just keep on covering. They've got a great record against the Eels. They've won, like you said, they've won 5 straight, scored 30+ in the last 5, all wins by 14+. Eels have come off a couple of big games. They beat the Panthers, beat the Seagulls, big rivalry games. They've come just 1 of 6 off a double-digit win. Mitchell Moses Wasn't telling last week. I'm not so sure that Manly are going that well, and they were in the game against the Eels for a long time. I think Latrell is going to field day, to be honest, against this kind of middle Parramatta defence here. So I think South by plenty.
South by plenty. Gets me excited. I've got a little bit of juice flowing somewhere at the moment when Toprope says South by plenty. Really gets me excited.
It has been his team for about a good month.
Yeah, no, he's jumped on, and look, Latrell's in sensational form. And I actually think Latrell's helped Cody Walker enormously. He's just brought out the best in Cody. He needed to. He was struggling early, so. And then also Ilias is sort of coming good as well, and Cam Murray, just can't underestimate the leadership of Murray through the middle there.
Yeah, he's been outstanding, Cam Murray. Like I said, Ilias has been good. He's been a good try smasher. After he got hooked, he really built his confidence up by doing a couple of things: kick chases and backing up. It's kind of netted a couple of tries there for him. His confidence is just up. He's just trying to do the simple things right. It's often used phrase in rugby league. He's not overplaying his hand anymore, which is good. He's probably taking a bit of a backseat role to Latrell and Cody in that kind of dynamic playmaking role, and just doing the small things right. It's exactly what the Bunnies need right now. And yeah, Isaiah Yeo gets all the credit for being this great middle forward. No doubt he is. Cameron Murray is absolutely his equal and is showing that South. So he was fantastic against the Warriors last week. I know it was the Warriors, but it was a magnificent performance.
Yeah, he's definitely one of my favourites. As we look to the second match for the weekend of AFL action, it's the Melbourne Demons, $1.33 against the Blues, $3.35. The line minus 19.5, over under 153.5. Cripps is back in, big in for Carlton. At the halfway point of the year, everyone was really anticipating this round 22 clash between Carlton and Melbourne. I still think it delivers. Melbourne probably aren't going as well as they have. Carlton have sort of got the skids on a little bit shaky. I reckon this looks a beauty. The midfield battle is going to be enormous. And then, it's going to be Mackay and Curnow against May and Lever and Petty. It's going to be enormous. Which way do you look, MG?
Yeah, it's certainly been built up now, and it'll be interesting what effect the Cripps saga's probably had on the Blues, whether it takes energy out of. I don't like the extended version. Players generally don't play that well when they've had to go through this kind of, saga through the week. It just takes a bit of mental energy out of it. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of game Cripps does get to play now against a definitely the best midfield in the comp. Oliver Petrarca, Viney, and Brayshaw. They're all at the top of their game, and even we saw last week in match of the round or match of the season, with Collingwood. It shows that how far Melbourne, I guess, have just dropped away. All their big players played unbelievable last week, and they couldn't get the job done over Collingwood. So not a great sign for Melbourne OB. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think the market's probably about right. It's fluctuated a point here, point there through the Cripps saga around the 19. It's been pretty solid. I think that's about right. Melbourne have gone win-loss for the last 6 weeks, so they're very hard to get a read on in terms of consistency. Carlton, as you said, have just dropped off. Now the pressure's on. You've got 2 weeks to find a win against tough opposition. So they will be all out. This key factor for me is Melbourne off an 8-day break, Carlton off a 6. I think that plays in, as I mentioned in the game before. There is weather around, so that will probably check the betting as well. Kind of like the under total when it was around the 158. I thought it was shade to the under. Now it's dropped to 153, which has probably come in line with where it should be. So hard to find a bet in this game, but looking forward to watching it, OB.
As we look to the Saturday afternoon rugby league blockbuster, the Roosters $1.70, North Queensland Cowboys $2.20, the line minus 2.5, over under 46.5. And if I look correctly here, it's at the SCG, is that right, Toprope?
Yep, at the SCG, it'll be one of the remaining games at the Sydney Cricket Ground before the Roosters move to the new Sydney Football Stadium, which is set to open in round 25 against the Rabbitohs. Interesting game, and a game probably that's going to bring more for Paul Green than anyone else. He coached the Cowboys, played for the Roosters, was assistant at the Roosters as well. So it's going to be a very sad occasion, I would have thought. But from a betting point of view, leaning a bit towards the Cowboys here, to be honest. The Roosters also celebrating James Tedeschi's 200, so they'll certainly be up for it. But their coverage is 4 of 13 for a win, 5 of 14 as a favourite, so not keen to jump into them there. Their upside is probably equal or better than the Cowboys, but their downside is significantly worse. They've turned in some shocking patches this year. Cowboys play good in the daytime. Have covered 14-20, 8 of 10 road games. Best bet though, the over. The totals flown north, 43.5 to 46.5. We're still back the over if there were the holes, which it looks like it should. Huge overspots both teams. 20-11 Roosters at the SCG, 8-3 Cowboys A games. I'd be backing the over and collecting them.
As we look to the next game at the SCG, the Swans $1.36 against the Magpies $3.20, the line minus 20.5, over under 172.5. A little one here, little scoop from AFL House. AFL hate it when the rugby league plays the day before. The ground gets cut up. The SCG can't handle the traffic. So it'll be interesting to see over-under scoring, a little bit of weather around Sydney as there has been in recent times.
Recent times?
Yeah.
3 years it's been raining.
Yeah, I saw a few horses running down the Nile the other day and I thought it was Randwick. It looks a beauty on paper. Hopefully the ground stacks up. Hopefully Collingwood, the flu hasn't gone through. I know, Toprope and I are sort of coughing and spluttering around, so there's a little bit around. This looks a ripper. I don't know about the 320 on Collingwood. I think they're going a bit better than that. Everyone's sort of talking about the Swans and Collingwood just sort of flying under the radar. I don't mind a bit of the 320.
Yeah, OB, I'm with you on this one, surprisingly. I have to chalk this one.
Cut that up, Borko. Cut it up.
Where, all the money for Sydney. Open 14 in this market. Now it's gone to 20. It's just absolute one-way traffic. I know Collingwood have, as you said, got some, maybe some players might come out with the flu. They've been monitored. They've been sent home during the week. But you don't often see a side that's won 11 games straight, OB, that is a $3.20 and plus 20.5 point outsider. Part of the reason that they are, though, is that they do have to travel to Sydney. They have won 11 in a row, and they've won a lot of close games by under 7 points as well, whereas Swans have now won 5 straight, and 4 of those 5 have been by 33 points or more. So they've been destroying their opposition, whereas Collingwood have just been finding the line like a good racehorse that you often find at Flemington there, OB. But, great match, 2nd v 4th on the ladder. These two teams have now won as a combined 16 straight games, so this should be a highlight as long as rugby league doesn't tear the SCG apart. We'll get a good contest, but I think Collingwood a tremendous value, both the head-to-head and at the line at plus 20.5. As you said, bit of weather around. If the ground does get a bit dug up, it'll only reduce the scoring. So I tend to be the under, and these two teams combined, when they play each other, 11-1 for the under. So Toprope loves a lopsided stat like that. He would be chips all in. I think at the 169.5, it could be a play on the under here, and Collingwood at the plus.
As when I looked at the run sheet this morning and I saw the third game of NRL action, the 9th place Canberra Raiders against the 11th place St George-Illawarra Dragons. The Raiders $1.45, St George $2.75, the line minus 5.5, over under 43.5. It's the coachless Raiders against possibly the coachless Dragons after next week. But I looked at this on the run sheet, 9th versus 11th. Toprope, something's doing. What have you got for us?
Well, first of all, I've got a comment about the SCG. And I'm not sure if AFL fans are aware, when you play a contact sport, the ground does get cut up. So by watching a contact sport, you might see the ground get cut up. But on to more pressing matters, the Raiders and the Dragons. The Raiders may actually benefit from not having Ricky Stewart. So certainly wouldn't rule that one as a mark against the Raiders to have Andrew McFadden coaching them. He did a good job with the Warriors. But I will certainly be more mindful of the fact that Joe Tapine will not play for the Raiders. So he's a big out for them. I think the Dragons are great value. Raiders have a very poor record at home. They've got a poor record as a big favourite at home. Dragons have covered 9 of 12, including the last 3 against the Raiders. Beat them only 6 weeks ago. Yeah, I'll be taking the plus here. I think they can be able to stick to the Dragons.
Oh, you've heard it here first. I love it when he talks with that enthusiasm, especially on a Sunday afternoon. Something to look forward to as we whip through the remaining AFL games for the punters out there. Bulldogs and Giants. Bulldogs $1.15. The Giants $5.50 here in Melbourne. The line minus 32.5. Over under 173.5.
Yeah, all the money for the Bulldogs here. 27-32, and all the money for the over. Hard to find a bet for me. If I was going to go, I think the number's too big. here, OB. I think even though the Giants are away, plus 32.5 is a big number against the Bulldogs. I know they need a win to play finals, but I tend to take the big plus here, and I'll stay out of the total.
Adelaide North, Melbourne, the 2:10 game over at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows $1.20, the Kangaroos $4.60, the line minus 32.5, over under 161.5. Ben Cunnington back, which is a fantastic story for the AFL. And the Kangaroos dropping Horn Francis. He will ask for a trade home to Adelaide this year.
Okay, you heard it here. News. Plenty of changes going on towards the end of the year. For this game, ordinary game, and too big a number here for Adelaide. If I was going to play, which I'm not, there's better bets around for the weekend. North Melbourne are a big plus. I know they don't have too many covers to their names this year, but that's a big number. Keen on the over here. I think if the weather holds, which it looked like it will, 161 is too low.
As we look at the next game, is the Gold Coast Suns, $4. The Cats, $1.26. The line, 23.5. Over under 154.5. I give the Gold Coast Suns a chance here. Geelong don't play that well up there. Second half gets a little bit greasy. Geelong have sewn up a top 2 spot. I don't mind the Suns here a little bit.
Yeah, agree with you, OB. I think late Saturday afternoon here, there's weather around. All the money is for Geelong at the moment. It's gone from 20 to 23. I think the Suns will be, up and about competitive. This is probably one of their last things they can do for the year. So solid total here, no play, but if I was playing, the plus would be the play.
So the Dockers and the Eagles is the next game. We've got the Dockers $1.12, West Coast $6.40, the line minus 39.5, over under 156.5. Looks all one-way traffic in the derby over there.
Yeah, it is 34 at open here, OB, so out to 39. It is all one way. I think the Eagles too much energy went into Kennedy's send-off last week. They've rested. Obviously, Kennedy goes out. Kelly, they've lost a few more. Not a betting game again for me. Fremantle, obviously, a better side. West Coast are terrible. There's plenty of rain forecast around here, so it's definitely a sit on your hands and wait. The total has dropped a little bit from 59 down to 56. So I will stay out of this game and see how the weather shapes on the Sunday.
And the early game on Sunday at the MCG sees the Tigers $1.32 against the Hawks, $3.40, the line minus 22.5, over under 170.5. The market seems to be favouring the Tigers, but Sam Mitchell and the Hawks can sometimes pull one out, but Richmond don't want to lose any more from here.
No, Richmond must win out, so I think they'll get the job done. I think also the market's right on both the line and the total in this game. Can't find a bet for the punters, but expect Richmond to win.
And the final game for round 22 sees Essendon $1.78 against Port Adelaide, $2.04. The line minus 3.5, over under 169.5. I'd be all over the power.
Yeah, another bet for you and me then, OB. I'm not sure what the count is between us, but you owe me a couple of goose bottles, I think. I'm shading Essendon. Not a big play here, but yeah, I'd rather Essendon at home here. The market's unchanged, very solid at 2. And slight leaning to the over here. It's jumped from 166 to 169. I still think there's room for an overplay here. Under the dome, weather won't be affected. I think with Port dropping off, Essendon like to play open football. There'll be plenty of points in this game.
As we look to the remaining games of NRL action, the early Friday night game sees the Warriors $2.28 against Toprope's Bulldogs $1.65. The line 3.5, over under 44.5. Anything doing there, Toprope?
Yep, plenty doing. Best of the week, the Warriors to cover and probably win outright here. Great spot for a team off an embarrassing performance. Home teams off conceding 48 plus, covered 13 of 17 in the last 4 seasons. The record holds up over the last 15 years. Warriors have covered both games from out smart. Dogs have to go Sydney, Bundaberg, Sydney, Auckland. Tough travel schedule for them. Being a road favourite, they're certainly been resurgent. Can't have them laying points overseas. I'll be riding the Warriors all the way in this one.
As we look to the Saturday night game, West Tigers $4.70 against the Cronulla Sharks $1.20. The line 13.5, over under 43.5. Top rope.
Yeah, NRL heads to Tamworth, taking the game to the bush. Sharks have a great record against the Tigers. They're certainly a better team. Fancy the line might be a little large. Tigers were horrible last week when heavily favoured against the Knights, but they performed well when no expectation. Covered 11 of 13, getting a double-digit start. 14 of 19 off scoring 10 or fewer. 4 straight off a loss. I'll be with the Tigers at the big plus. Hold your nose.
And the late game on Saturday sees the Brisbane Broncos $1.10 against the Newcastle Knights $7.25. The line minus 19.5, over under 44 points even. The Knights coming off a pretty good win last week.
Yep, and the Knights off a win are 12-26 against the spread the following week. The Broncos covered 14-17 at Suncorp, 9-10 at Suncorp off a double-digit loss. Yeah, the line's moved 14.5 to 19.5 here. I think there's a chance this ends up at kind of 23.5, 24. I'll be taking the minus in this one.
And the final game of NRL action for this round sees the Titans $2.55 against the Sea Eagles $1.52. The line 6 flat, over under 49.5. Any hope the Titans there against the up and down Sea Eagles?
Yeah, I think there would be some hope. I don't really have any strong views on the game. I would be loath to take Manly laying the 6 points on the road. No turbo on the kind of the trouble they've had internally at the club. The Titans' numbers, though, are just utterly horrific. So it's hard to make a case for them. But we're looking at the highest total of the season, 49.5. I don't think it's nearly enough. So these are huge over spots for both sides. These have gone over in 7-9 with the bets, 13-4 when the Titans are an underdog of 6 or more points. The under, so the over is 31-13 when Manly off a loss. Chips in the over in this one.
Thank you, Toprope. Another great punting performance this week. Just a reminder that GGOA can be located for $22 a week in the littlebirdie.live shop for all your NRL betting action, and the AFL Stings is also in the littlebirdie.live shop for $22 a week. Also, Toprope, thank you very much again. We'll see you on Monday for first look. And MG, thank you. Also, that's a wrap for this week's Friday Lines. Follow us on YouTube. Find us in the Apple Store, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your podcast. Follow Little Birdie TV on Twitter and Instagram. Remember, all your footy betting action can be found at topsport.com.au. We'll be back next Friday. Don't forget to join Nikki and the boys for the first look on Monday for all the weekend's action and review. Punt well, punt responsibly, and have a great weekend, punters.